Before we start, I want to ask you something. Have you ever had friends, but still felt completely alone? Have you ever spent time with people and later found yourself wondering if they actually care about you? If that feeling sounds familiar, this story might help you understand why. I receive messages almost every day from people who feel confused about friendship. They tell me something like this: I have friends, but I never feel secure with them. They say they are always wondering if they said the wrong thing. Always questioning whether people actually like them. Always feeling like they have to work harder than everyone else just to keep a friendship alive. And if that sounds familiar to you, I want you to know something. This experience is incredibly common for people who grew up in emotionally chaotic homes, when childhood is full of instability, criticism, or neglect. We often grow up without a clear understanding of what healthy relationships look like. So when we become adults, we might mistake confusion for closeness. We might think it's normal to feel anxious after spending time with friends. We might believe it's normal to constantly try to earn people's approval. But here's something important I learned over time. Real friendship is not supposed to feel like emotional guesswork. It doesn't leave you constantly wondering where you stand. It doesn't make you feel small or unwanted. But if you grew up in an environment where love and attention were unpredictable, you might unknowingly accept relationships that mirror that same uncertainty. And that's exactly what happened to me for a long time. I believed I had many friends. My phone was full of contacts. I had people to talk to, people to meet, people to laugh with. Everything looked normal. But life has a strange way of revealing the truth about relationships when you go through difficult moments. Because when things fall apart, you discover who is really there. And that realization came to me during one of the hardest experiences of my life at the time. I was a divorced mother raising 2 young children. Then, one day I had to go through a medical procedure that was supposed to be routine. But something went wrong. Complications started appearing. Instead of going home after a short recovery, I ended up staying in the hospital for nearly a month. My children were able to stay with their father while I recovered, which was a relief. But emotionally, that time was incredibly difficult. Hospitals can be lonely places, and during that long month, something painful became very clear. Many days passed without a single visitor. No friendly faces, no conversations, just the quiet hum of hospital machines and long hours alone with my thoughts. It's amazing how silence can make you reflect on your life. Because lying there, day after day, I began realizing something I had never wanted to admit. The friendships I thought were strong might not actually be real. Finally, the day arrived when I was allowed to leave the hospital. Remember stepping outside and feeling the warm sunlight on my face. For the first time in weeks, it felt almost surreal. But leaving the hospital came with another challenge. The doctors wouldn't allow me to leave alone. Someone had to pick me up and help me get home. And surprisingly, finding someone willing to do that was harder than I expected. One person stepped forward and helped me. I will always remember that kindness because it stood out so clearly during a time when many others had disappeared. But what happened after I returned home revealed something even more painful, and that realization changed how I see friendships forever. But what happened after I returned home forced me to face a truth I had been avoiding for years, and once I saw it clearly, I couldn't ignore it anymore. When support disappears. When I returned home after leaving the hospital, the doctors gave very clear instructions. They told me I needed several weeks of rest, no lifting, no heavy activity, no unnecessary stress. But real life rarely allows perfect recovery conditions. I still had children to care for, meals to prepare, a home to manage, work to continue. And the truth was, I physically could not handle everything alone. That's when I expected my friends to step in. I had helped many of them during difficult times. I had listened to their problems, supported them through heartbreak, helped them when life felt overwhelming, so naturally, I believed they would show up for me too. But things didn't happen that way. Some friends promised they would visit, but never came. Others stopped by briefly, but didn't stay long. A few even came empty-handed when I had clearly asked for help with something simple like bringing food, and because I was already feeling vulnerable, I began doing something many people with childhood trauma do. I blamed myself. I thought maybe I had done something wrong. Maybe I had pushed people away somehow. Maybe I expected too much, so whenever someone did visit, I tried to act cheerful. I smiled. I avoided mentioning how difficult things really were, because deep down I was afraid that if I showed frustration or sadness, they might stop visiting altogether. And when you've spent weeks feeling isolated, even small visits feel precious, even if those visits don't actually help you. But slowly, I began noticing a painful pattern. I had been the supportive friend for many people, yet when I needed support, the same effort wasn't returned. That realization forced me to ask an uncomfortable question. Why had I tolerated relationships that were so And the answer had everything to do with something many people don't recognize. Loneliness doesn't come from one bad interaction. It comes from years of giving more than you receive.